get hard on myself, like I should be further in life and this should be happening. But writing those things down, you can look and say, you know what, I'm exactly where I need to be, or further actually.
Welcome to the Radiance Unbroken podcast, where we interview high achieving women who have been through things, who have overcome, and are now they're expressing their gratitude and their successes. I would like to introduce today Tierra Jones, a mother, a professional, a high achieving woman who has accomplished great things. And she's going to tell her story today. Welcome, Tierra.
Great to be here.
Now, we're going to start off with talking about your origin story. Tell us a little bit. Go back to your childhood.
So I grew up in the city of Detroit to a single mother. She had me and my brother. And at a young age, I experienced a lot of different things with my mom and my dad, but it helped me become the woman that I am today.
And just let us reflect a little bit on how that looked with your mom, your upbringing. Tell us a little bit about your foundation.
So my foundation, my mom, she always had me in church, but she was still old school, right? And so a lot of things were swept under the rug. I dealt with a lot of trauma, abuse, sexual abuse. And so it ultimately changed who I was.
Okay. And sorry to hear about that. And what's the moment from your past that shaped how you think today?
I would say that abuse as a kid, it shaped me into the woman that I am today. It makes you look at relationships differently, how you raise your children differently, and even just wanted to be more successful because people will look at you like you are somebody too.
And what were you taught growing up about being a young woman?
So growing up, my mom, like I said, she always had me in church. So that was instilled in me on how a woman should be. My mom didn't have a lot of men around me, but me going through different traumas, it made me have my own perspective on how a woman should be. But also, as I got older and I seen other women, I also chose, like, you know what, I want to be like this person. So I started to be around more successful people to see who I really wanted to be, because sometimes the parents, they have that foundation, but you still have to be your own person and be the person that you want to be.
All right. So when did you realize something needed to change?
I would say I was about 25 years old. I was going through homelessness and trying to just navigate through life, how I can make better for my children. And so a light bulb went off and said, you have to do things differently. I got into therapy and things started to progress for me.
All right. Can you reflect a little bit about your mindset? What was your mindset during that season of your life?
I would say my mindset was it was chaotic, but I know I wanted to get through that time. So I had to press through. I had to look at people that I wanted to be like and get a clear mind. I looked at motivational things on YouTube. I wrote in my journal just to clear my mind and so I can get where I needed to go.
Okay, and just expand a little bit on that. What was that specific moment that changed your life?
I think when I was a young child, when I was abused, that was something that changed my life forever. Like I said, it made me look at relationships differently, and even at my parents differently, but now also as being a parent now, how I raised them.
Yeah, and I do agree that our experiences in life, it will just change our parenting totally, and how we are as a professional as well. And what was the hardest truth that you had to accept about yourself?
I think the hardest truth I had to accept about myself, if I wanted something, I had to go get it on my own. There was no one there to save me but Christ, of course, but you have to work hard for what you want. So I think that was the hardest truth for me. Not to have pity parties, because I often was doing that. Well, why did I have to grow up like this? Or why is my life this? Just really getting up from that pity party and saying, no, if I want change, I am capable of doing it.
Good. And what did you have to unlearn really to grow during, those times of your life?
I had to unlearn a lot, and I'm still learning. One of the biggest things for me was I was in therapy. I still am in therapy, and it's
Therapy.
yes,
Okay.
therapy is good. And we talk about boundaries. And so I had to learn how to have boundaries with people. Not that I didn't have it, but I would let so much stuff occur, and then I would explode. And so then people are looking like, "What happened?" And so having those boundaries from the very beginning really has helped me.
Good. Okay, let's talk a little bit about struggles and reality.
Mhm.
What mistake do you think you made in your life that changed the trajectory of your now success?
I would say nothing that I went through was a mistake. It was just a lesson learned. So I took everything that I went through and I tried to, like I said, not have that mindset of being a victim or having a pity party for myself, but changing my mindset, saying, no, you know, you can get through this. Everybody goes through stuff.
Come on.
Everybody. I don't care if
Mhm.
you're the richest person, the poorest person. They might not say it, but everybody goes through stuff.
Absolutely. And we
Mhm.
just, I mean, in life, we just know put
Mhm.
one step in front of the other.
Yes. Yes.
If you go through a battle,
Mhm.
just try your best to keep moving
Mhm.
forward, because if we get stuck in a rut,
Mhm.
then we don't have momentum, or we don't have, those
Yeah.
next steps to keep going.
Yeah.
Good. Have you ever looked like you had it all together but didn't internally?
Plenty of times. And I think especially showing up professionally, when you go into an office, and when I go into my office and I'm going through things, I can't show everything I'm going through at home, right? And so we put on a a brave face like everything is fine, but internally you might be broken into pieces, and I have experienced that a lot of times. Um but sometimes we have to do that though, so people won't lose confidence in you. Not saying you can't be vulnerable sometimes, because you can, but we also know it's a certain place and time for everything. So I definitely have shown up like, oh, everything is okay, but deep down I'm just going through it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And we do
Hmm.
that in our professional setting. We do that at home. We do that with our
Yeah.
family, our friends.
Yeah.
Ooh. And what's the low moment that people don't see behind your success?
I have been through quite a lot. But one thing that has been consistent is I go to God about everything. I learned how to go to Him a little bit quicker now. I go into my room, just like the scripture says, close my door, and I pray to God, and He rewards me openly. And so in life, you're going to have ups and downs continuously. Some days are going to be up, some is going to be down, but the constant thing is Christ. So that's what I really focus on, and I've been meditating on the scripture, worry about nothing and pray about everything, because it's really important that we do that.
Wow. And that, you know what, that allows me to think about mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset is
Mm-hmm.
key. And like the scripture says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Yes.
So going to God,
Mm-hmm.
having faith in that mindset, it will, it has gotten me through a
And
lot.
it's true. You can't be successful if you don't already think it.
Mm.
You know? So
Say that again.
it really is your mindset, because also it makes, when you have that mindset, it makes you change your actions, right? So if I always wanted to get my master's degree, but I'm just wishing and hoping and didn't do anything, I had to change my mindset first and then take the action to do it.
Yeah. And now reflecting back and looking at that little girl, how did you have to like let go of relationships,
Mm-hmm.
change your mindset to move forward?
This might sound cliche, but I would say first Christ. I just go to Him about everything, and I had to learn that, because at first we think we can carry everything on our own, and it affects our bodies. It affects how we interact with other people. And then I just have different methods that I work on. I like to write in my journal. I take walks. Listen to. I don't know. I'm turning to my grandma, because as I grew up, she always used to listen to jazz, and now I find myself when I'm stressed.
Woo!
Oh, let me turn on some jazz, and my kids are looking like, "Mommy, what's this?" So it's just different things to help you relax and to get back to that place.
I like it. I like it because I always take music into account when I want to,
Mm-hmm.
get away, being by the water,
Mm-hmm.
and self-care,
Yeah.
even taking yourself out.
Yeah.
Sometimes women who are high achieving or have a lot of responsibility on their plate, you have to learn how to take care of you first, because self-care is key.
Yeah.
Tierra, what almost made you quit?
What almost made me quit? I would say being a single mom, having to carry everything at one time, it can be overwhelming. And many times I wanted to quit, like, you know what? But having my kids, you can't quit, right? But I will say that's also my motivation on why I go so hard, because I want them to see a different light. And so I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate, even not being a single mom, just being a mom in general. It's one of the hardest jobs, but the most rewarding. So I would say I wanted to quit plenty of times, trying to go up the corporate ladder, trying to finish my degree while taking care of kids. So it's many moments in my life that I wanted to give up, but I just kept pressing through.
Thank you for that. And you mentioned that you journal. In your journaling as a young woman, did you have these things all written down?
Yes, I write down all my goals, and then I can look back a year from now and say, "Oh, I really accomplished this." For example, when I wanted to go off to school to get my master's degree, I wrote it down. The house that I'm in today, I wrote down how many bedrooms I wanted, what the color of the house is going to be. And it's just to show you that God is faithful, and that He will, if you write those things down and you press through, God will do it for you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I know in grad school, they have you write down like your 5-year goal or 5-year trajectory of how you see yourself in the future. And that is so awesome to look at and to also review every so often. Yeah. And last night, I did happen to come across mine, and it just made me cry.
Oh.
It made me cry because, like you mentioned, God is so evident.
Yes.
He is so present. And when you write things down and have faith, He comes through.
Every time.
Thank you. This episode is sponsored by Aryze Well, where we help women increase energy, decrease brain fog, and heal the gut microbiome through personalized, integrative wellness plans. If you're feeling stuck or not like yourself lately, schedule your discovery call today at Aryze Well and start feeling like you again. What actually helped you start seeing progress in your life?
Like I said, writing things down, because sometimes too, when life is moving so fast, you might not think you're so far along, but you are. And so it's so funny to me that you made that comment earlier. I just was in my room the other day, and it was a paper folded up, and I was like, what is this paper? And it was the same thing. I wrote down my goals, and I was like, the Lord must have wanted me to see this, because sometimes we do, I know me, get hard on myself, like I should be further in life and this should be happening. But writing those things down, you can look and say, you know what, I'm exactly where I need to be, or further, actually.
Absolutely. And to expand on that, how do you think affirmations take place, or how important are affirmations in your life?
Affirmations are very important, because you are speaking what you want in your life, the positivity. And then also, I'll go a step further. I put scriptures. I meditate on scriptures, because it helps me. Like if I'm going through something and something really fast, somebody's bothering me, I say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, right? So you just meditating on those things, on the word, and it really gets you a long way, because it's changing your mindset. You're shifting from negative to positive. So
absolutely, as a man thinketh, so is he. Come on. Awesome. What should someone focus on before starting to level up?
You definitely should focus on yourself internally and going to therapy. A lot of people think therapy is such taboo, like, oh, you shouldn't go to therapy, or something is wrong with someone that goes to therapy. Before you can level up, you have to make sure you take care of yourself, because as you level up, it gets harder. You have more responsibilities that you have to do. And so if you don't take care of yourself now, when things get harder, what are you going to do? You might crumble because you don't have that foundation of taking care of yourself.
What do you think, speaking to young women out there, what do you think are some things that they rush into that they're not ready for yet?
I would say relationships. People rush into relationships. We all want companionship and holding the hand at the going into the movie theaters and having date nights. We all want that. Well, I would say majority of people. Some people say I don't want that, but most people do want that. But it's very important that you don't rush into that. You have to take the time to really get to know that person, because when seasons change, so does that person. So you have to really take the time to reflect and see what you're getting yourself into.
Absolutely. And when I was growing up, my dad always told me, he said, make sure you experience somebody in every season. Because there's so much to get to know in a person before you dedicate your life to, spending the rest of your life with them. How do you approach growth differently now than you did in the past?
I think now that I'm older, I understand that you always are going to have to grow. Sometimes I know as a kid, you think, oh, when I turn 18, when I turn 21, I'm going to be done. No, you're constantly growing, you're constantly learning, and you should have that mindset, because if you don't, you will be stagnant and you'll get tired. Like, I got to go through this, I got to go through that, but it's a part of life. We always are going to go through something, and we're always going to have to continue to grow.
And then you mentioned being stagnant. Was there a time when you felt stagnant, like you felt like you're doing all these great things, there's no momentum, there's no progress? What did you do to get out of that?
I listened to different podcasts. I looked at YouTube videos that was inspiring to me to get me out of that mindset, because you have people around you too that would keep you stagnant. For example, when I first had my oldest daughter, my mom was saying, oh, you should just work, don't worry about school. But deep inside, I knew I wanted better. So I was just like, no, I'm going to go to school. She's like, well, I'm not watching the baby while you go to school, right? So I had to find other ways to make sure that I got what I needed. And school is not for everybody, but for some people it is. It's the way to your climbing that ladder. And I know in my field of work, that's what I needed to do.
Okay. And so when you did pivot and you made that change, and once again, congratulations, because you just got your master's degree. Once you did make that change, what did you see differently, especially like in your profession?
People treat you totally different. I can give a good example how I was working on a project with another department, and my manager was in a room. And so the young lady, she was disregarding me. She was like, oh no, Tierra, this question is not for you, it's for your manager. And my manager was like, no, Tierra, she knows it. I'll let her speak. And so she was like, okay, Tierra, you can speak. But then the project needed to come over to my department. And she was like, hey, Tierra, can you do the project? And I was like, no, I'm too busy working on my master's degree. And her whole attitude shifted towards me. She was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know you were working on your master's. And then, she showed me some respect. And even now, having a senior role in my company, the respect is totally different.
Awesome. And I know I keep saying awesome, but she is just blowing my mind here. She's done some great things, Tierra. Now, what is one lesson you've learned that allows you to pivot how you move today?
One lesson that I have learned is not to be so explosive. I think with therapy that has helped me to just to take time to reflect on things before I respond. Because especially I'm climbing the corporate ladder, I can't, explode on people. What's the new word they're using now? Crash out on people. And I'm still working on that, but I know also as I go up the corporate ladder, I don't want people to look at me like, that's Tierra acting that way. So it's constantly growing and reflecting on how you behave.
Yeah. And that's important. Mindset, like you said. And let's talk a little bit about the physical body. So when you have these mindsets of, crashing out on people, being stressed, how did that affect your body, the stressors?
Yeah. One time I even fainted. I was so stressed about work and then being a single mom, I fainted. And when I went into the hospital, the doctor came over to my bedside and he said, "It's nothing wrong with you. You're just stressed." I was so stressed I couldn't walk. I was paralyzed for a minute. When they do the little thing on your knees, it wouldn't move. My body couldn't take the stress. Another good example is I was on my cycle for over a month. I just kept bleeding over and over, and they had to give me a blood transfusion. And they ran all the tests. They were like, "You don't have fibroids, you don't have this," and they ran all the tests. And it was just really, my body was shutting down because I had so much stress.
Yeah, and we know when your body is under stress,
Mm-hmm.
your cortisol levels get dysregulated, your adrenal glands get affected, and it's just like a domino effect in the body.
Yeah.
And it causes havoc. Now, incorporating sleep, how do you incorporate sleep now, since you have this new role at your place of employment?
So I learned how to just leave the day at today and worry about the rest tomorrow. I don't have my phone in front of me right before I go to sleep like how I used to, like at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes before, putting the phone down and just relaxing, because it was one point I was having dreams about the next task I got to do, the next day. And so that wasn't good and it wasn't helping my sleep. And so really just trying to relax right before I go to bed, being in a dark room, that really helps me get the sleep that I need.
Yeah, and we know that sleep is restorative.
Mm-hmm.
It is so imperative to get the sleep that you need.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Quality sleep at that.
Yeah.
Uninterrupted sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you wake up refreshed in the morning?
I do.
So what does doing things the right way mean to you now?
It's very important to me because I have children. Not saying that I have always done things the right way, because of course I have not, but it's really important to me because I want to be a great example for them. Also in my career, I have my goals set on what I want to do next, and doing things the right way. If I don't do it the right way, it will affect me.
What's one thing you wish more people knew about your journey, this journey to success, being this single mom, being a professional, being a high achieving woman?
I wish more people knew how much I prayed. I'm a prayer warrior. You tell me about something you might not know, but if God tell me to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm up praying on your behalf. And also I have learned too that when you take care of God's people, He take care of you. So a lot of prayer has got me here. It really has.
Prayer. Come on. I had an experience last night, and I was telling you earlier that God was so present with me, and He comforted me, and He allowed me, like I said, to look at my goal sheet that I wrote a while ago, and it was just like, Lord, you never left me. You never forsake me. You were there during my heavy times, my stressful times, and you allowed me to reach the goals that were on that sheet.
He is faithful. He said that He will never leave or forsake us, and that is so true. It's so true. Sometimes things get so heavy in our lives, especially as a mother, as having, high demand careers. It's a lot, and sometimes we forget that He's still with us. And that's why it's important to write too, and write it down so you can reflect.
Yes. Yes. And in life how we could be so serious. We could be so, I gotta get this done. What do you do for self-care? And what do you do to be happy?
One of my favorite things to do, I love a good massage.
Woo,
so
come on.
I actually signed up to take massages, get at least one massage a month. I have a membership. I do that, and then sometimes just going to buy myself something that I like. Because I used to have this habit. Well, as long as the kids have everything they need, then I'll be okay. And my best friend had to tell me, like, Tierra, do you ever buy anything for yourself? And I was like, you know what? I don't. So really taking the time to take care of myself first, because I can't pour into my children off an empty cup. So
yeah, and pouring into our children is key. They're watching us.
Yes.
They're listening to us. And being a woman that is responsible for, employees, responsible for owning a business, responsible for the children and our spirituality, that can become a little heavy and a little overwhelming. But that's not to say that that's the end of our, our day or our success or our journey. Yeah. It's just if we put one step in front of the other, we can make it. Yeah, we've both been there.
Yes, God is good. We have to push through because it gets heavy when you're overwhelmed with so much stuff. You're like, Lord, what am I gonna do? And then I also felt like the life was just keep repeating itself every day. Like I go to work, go to school, take care of the kids, and start all over again, right? So it is finding exciting things. I seen somebody say, doing little things on the weekend so you can look forward to doing something. So I have implemented that in my life too, and that has helped me too. Like, okay, yeah, I'm taking care of the kids during the week, but on the weekends I get to hang with my friends, or I get to do this event, or so that has helped me a lot too.
Yeah, and even going to I'm an the arts person. So going to art galleries, going to the orchestra, going to, whatever it is that makes you feel like you're at home. Yeah. That's where we want our bodies. After being present for so many different people and so many different things, we want to feel safe in our own bodies. Yeah. So if somebody is starting from scratch, what would you tell them to do first?
First, I would tell you to seek God first in everything that you do, because if you don't, then it's not going to prosper without Him. So seek God first, make sure you're taking care of your body and listening to your body and what it needs, and then just keep going. It's going to get tough sometimes. This road to success is not easy. You're going to have a lot of long, late nights, early mornings, but you have to keep pressing through. Keep pressing through, no matter what.
Keep pressing through. Yeah. So, Tierra, as a high-achieving woman, doing a self-reflection and going to the next level, what can you share of how to prepare for that?
I would say make sure that you're taking care of your body first. And I'm still learning that. Like I had a conversation with you, just taking small walks and changing up my food. I'm still trying to get to a certain size and all that, but it starts with me and wanting to get my body healthy first and getting your mind prepared. So if you are already stressed at this, not say a little thing, but the little things that you have to do day by day, when you want to grow in your career, it's only going to get heavier because you're more responsible for people. And also what I'm learning too in my role, more people depend on me, right? And so now they're dumping their situation on me, like I'm going through this and I'm going through that. And so if you're not strong at the very beginning, when other people are dumping their load on you and you have to navigate how you can help them and still do your job, it will become heavy. So you have to take care of yourself first, that foundation.
Yeah. And since you have transitioned into your professional role, this new position, tell me, what does your definition of being safe mean?
That's a good question. I would say my definition of being safe would be feeling heard by whoever that may be. It can be a partner or a friend, to feel heard and respected. Because if you don't feel heard, it's like you're talking to a wall, right? So it's like, oh, it's not safe here, and your body will tell you if you're not safe around somebody. We don't listen to it a lot of times, but it'll tell us. And just having respect.
Yeah. And Tierra, I just want to say thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast today. And for anyone out there who is looking for success, and you have your children, you have your responsibilities, and it feels like you are just going in circles and you want to reset, you want to feel like yourself again, we have a few things in the link that can help you. And until next time, everybody, keep your mind, body, and appetite on point. Radiance Unbroken. Take care.